Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Matthew Smith with us. And Matthew, as a new feature, you're going to be the first test market for this today. I'm going to ask you who you would like to have dinner with.
That would be fantastic. And do you want to know who I want to have dinner with?
I would love to know who you'd love to have dinner with.
No, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon at all by this one.
Okay.
And this one kind of recently just kind of came to me in the last few weeks. And the person that I would love to have dinner with is Elon Musk.
Okay, I can understand the interest in that, and we kind of talked about the SpaceX part of it. That's the part that interested you the most about Elon?
100%. It's all about SpaceX. Nothing about anything else that's going on, social media, presidential stuff. Doesn't matter to me. It's all about SpaceX. When I watched that rocket land itself, I was like, this guy is brilliant. And if I can be next to someone brilliant and learn from them, that would be pretty awesome. Plus, he seems pretty fun.
Well, and you said your grandfather worked in the space shuttle business for a little while.
Yeah, he worked at Northrop Grumman. So I grew up around spaceships and stuff like that. I think he probably helped design a bolt or maybe a little bit of the electrical in there. Nothing, major, but it was really interesting to see that side of things. So
was this in the 70s or 80s? When was this?
Way before me. So I would say probably in the 60s or 70s.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So give us a little history, given your grandfather's history, and that came out of North Carolina. How did you end up in San Diego in real estate?
Oh, you're going to love this story. So I was born and raised I was born in North Carolina, but I was raised in Reading, Pennsylvania, a little bit east of Philadelphia.
Okay.
I went to high school there, and I got a job right out of high school doing construction. And a lot of my friends were having problems. They got into some bad things and stuff. And I said, there's really not a lot for me here. And this is when Baywatch was at its peak.
Oh, Baywatch. All right.
And so I would watch Baywatch when I came home from school, and I would watch Baywatch when I came home from work. And when you're on the East Coast and it's 26 degrees and you're watching Baywatch, there is beautiful people, there is beaches, and they're having fun. You're like, this is the place I want to go. And one day I said, why don't I?
What's stopping me?
What is stopping me? And I got in my car and I ended up in San Diego 2.5 days later.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That is incredible. Well, I want to just throw in a little trivia here for you in that I am actually married to Pamela Anderson.
Awesome.
In name only. Actually, she goes by PJ now, but her last name is Anderson and her first name is Pamela, but her middle name is Jean. I don't know what Pamela Anderson's Baywatch middle name is, but anyway, I should look that up just for interest. But that's always been a fun little fact.
So we have Mr. Bean and Pamela Anderson married.
It's quite a combo. It's what you got. Yeah. So then, okay, so you get out to the East Coast. Now just for interest's sake, were you pounding nails in construction? What were you doing in construction?
Yeah, I was. So I was a framer, and I was learning how to build houses and such. And that was kind of the thing around Reading is you go, it's an industrial area, and you go work at Cartech in the industrial area, or you're a framer or something to that effect. And it was something that I can get right out of high school, and I can make a decent wage. I think it was $5.50 an hour then, so that was probably pretty good.
Oh, that's big time, yeah.
Yeah, $5 or $6 an hour, and that was pretty good. I was either that or head off to college, and I said, let me figure out what I'm going to do, and I did construction for a little while, and it just wasn't doing it for me.
Construction wasn't doing it for you.
No, it wasn't doing it for me. And neither was the East Coast, and neither was the cold and the rain and the weathers and all that stuff. And the people, they weren't like Baywatch. People were nice. They were awesome.
So you get out to San Diego, you go to work in construction in San Diego?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
so that's kind of where the twist comes in there. So you think that I had no plan. I'm 20 years old. I have no plan. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I have my car. I connect with some folks, and my brother ended up actually coming out here probably about 6 months before I did. Now, him and I weren't really like we are now. We weren't close. I didn't pay too much attention to what he did and where he went.
This is an older brother.
You correct, an older brother of mine.
Okay. All
And I
right.
ended up roommating with one of his buddies out here in San Diego.
Okay.
And so now I am jobless, but I have a car and I have a roommate, but I got to pay rent.
Got to get a job.
Yeah. So the first thing I did was go hang out. I'm in San Diego. I'm going to go hang out. And I was out dating and so forth. And during that endeavor, we ended up down at a car dealership looking at cars one day. And this was in a very short period of time. So I went from the East Coast to San Diego with a roommate, needed to pay rent. But instead of going out looking for a job to go pay rent, I decided to go and not. And I ended up at a car dealership. And during that, looking at some fancy, cool cars and whatnot, I ended up getting a job offer and taking a job at a car dealership.
Oh, wow. All right. So these were new cars, used cars?
They were new cars.
Oh, wow.
It was at a dealership here in San Diego. It's at the Mile of Cars, and they had a GMC, Honda, and believe it or not, a Mitsubishi division.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now is Mitsubishi. And the sales manager said, "Hey, you're so charismatic. Do you want a job?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I don't have any money. I don't know how many could pay rent. I had a credit card, though. Bruce, I had a credit card, so I knew I was going to pay rent. I just wasn't sure if I was going to pay the credit card back then. But I was just enjoying myself in San Diego."
So then you start selling cars.
Did
they give you any training?
There was really no training. It was kind of thrown to the wolves. The car dealerships back then were pretty ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
So I really learned how to cut teeth in there because you get thrown to the wolves, and not only that, you have the wolves around you. So when people are like, "Hey, is Matt here?" They were like, "Yeah, Matt doesn't work here anymore." I'm like standing like right next to the guy, like, "I'm right here." So you really learn how to how to manage people, situations, talk, and get through things. So yeah, it was a natural fit for me. It was great because I got to talk about cars, which I loved, and I got to meet new people all the time, and I learned a lot.
Yeah, no, that is probably the ultimate sales area. I mean, selling cars to me would be a very difficult. Well, I'm not sure difficult's the right word, but yeah, wolves is the right word.
Yeah, wolves, exactly. It was tough back then because you had a lot of unsavory characters
Oh,
that
yeah.
worked in cars, and anybody can get a job in cars. I got one on the car lot, right? So
Yeah,
they just gave
yeah.
it to me without any experience, but I've learned a lot.
Yeah, but the other agents would just run you over rather than look at you.
And nobody cared if they ran you over.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't matter. You sold that car? No, you didn't. Yeah, I sold that car. I'm sure there was a lot of that kind of arguing going on.
But I learned a lot, and I'll learn one lesson that our sales manager would instill all the time. He said, if the car dealership burnt down, what's the most important thing in the dealership? And everybody's like, me, 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 me. And he would say, no, it's our logbook.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's our book of customers.
Oh, wow.
So if you, and this is just a book for prop's sake. It's The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It's a great book. You should read it. But the logbook is the most important thing because we can rebuild the dealership if we have the logbook. And that stuck with me through my whole life to this day.
Oh, I bet. I was just trying to, I just downloaded the ultimate sales book or something. Chet Holmes, I think. Have you read that one?
There's probably about 4 million sales books by about 8,000 people. I've had books, and I have books over here, and I would say they're probably more for decoration than reading. I get to the second page, and then I forget what I read in the first page. So I'm not always a book reader.
So, okay, so you're in car sales, and then what happens?
Yeah, so I'm in car sales. I went from the dealership down in National City to one in Poway. And I was at the car dealership and I was selling Honda cars, and then it was great. It was when the S2000 came out. They had the Odyssey van. So this is when the minivan was like the Honda Odyssey still to this day is like it's like the Lamborghini of minivans.
Yeah,
And
right.
the S2000, if you know what that is, I mean, that's an iconic mid-engine, just amazing car. It was a two-seat car that Honda made, and it's just incredible.
Oh,
Even
yeah, yeah,
today.
yeah. Right, right. I know it. Yeah.
So I
Convertible.
was yes, convertible. Yeah, it's the only came in.
Actually, our neighbor parks one of those in front of our house all the time. I don't know what year it is, but it's obviously not new.
No, but it's somewhat I mean, it's a somewhat
Yeah,
collectorish.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so I was loving it at the time, but like I said before in the beginning that I dealt with at the other dealership, it was very wolf-like.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it's not a good feeling to come in on a Monday and find out that 3 clients you work with purchase cars and you're not getting paid on those because, the other guys decided just to cut you out, and now you have to fight for your commission.
Oh, God.
And I was like, I don't need this. And so
Yeah.
I quit cars.
Oh, interesting. Then where'd you go?
I went into because I grew up on the East Coast, and on the East Coast I used to race and ride motocross. So
Oh,
dirt bike.
wow.
And when I came to California, it's pretty big out here because people would ride in the tracks, and then they would also go to the desert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Into
Right.
I was into dirt bikes and motorcycles, and just like I took the car to look at other cars, it's always fun to dream and you look at things, and when you're younger, you have free time, you don't have all the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So we'd go look at the motorcycle, and same thing. I walked in the motorcycle dealership and we're having a conversation. And I have my suit on because I'm dressed really nice for the cars. And, I talked to a really nice lady and I said, by the way, are you guys hiring? And she said, no, I'm the sales manager. I would know something to that. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
And I guess the owner was just like 2 people by there. And he goes, well, by the way, let me introduce myself because I had a suit on. I probably looked fancy. And we hit it off. And he said, well, you're our new sales manager. And I was like, whoa.
Wait a minute. You just kicked out the old sales manager?
Not on the spot, but it was like, well, no, let's talk. And I was like, okay, well, and we chatted, and yes, then I ended up taking her position, but she stayed on and she worked in parts. And so we ended up taking the dealership to being the number one Honda dealership. And I remember going to Vegas and being a VIP, and I'll never forget it. God bless everyone's soul, because that's when 9/11 happened. I was actually
Oh, wow. Okay.
We
Yeah.
were on our way to the Honda convention that was in Las Vegas, and we were a VIP that year for being one of the number one growing Honda dealerships in the United States under my watch, which I was kind of proud of.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in
Definitely.
my car, actually, I think a truck at that time. I'm in my truck and I have the radio on, and I'm waiting for the other guys to come out of the dealership because we're going to head over in the morning. And we heard it on the radio, and I was like, that's a really sick joke.
Yeah.
Come to find out that it wasn't a joke. And
Not a joke at all.
no,
Yeah.
but I'll never forget it. Just I heard it on the radio. It was great. I don't know if people know what radios are anymore, but
I've heard of them. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So did you end up going to Vegas?
We did end up going to Vegas, and it was a light crowd.
Oh, yeah.
There was
Nobody could fly.
yeah, no, we drove, and we were going to drive anyway, so we weren't.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah, there was more call ladies than people. And I found that out pretty quick when I sat at the bar, because I thought I was like the Mac Daddy, and all these beautiful women wanted to talk to me. And then I quickly found out it wasn't me they were after.
It was your pocketbook they were after.
100%. I was like, dang. Talk about an ego killer.
Yeah. So you're in the Honda motorcycle. So did you break your clavicle in this motocross period?
No, I was lucky. I broke bones, but no, I didn't break any clavicles or anything like that.
Oh,
I've been to the hospital many times. I've been to the emergency room. I've had ambulances come and get me, but no, I've been pretty good.
oh, wow. Oh, okay, okay. Broken bones but no broken clavicle, but a few dents here and there.
Yeah, a few dents here and there in a couple hospital stays, and I've been in an ambulance a few times. That was
I
interesting.
just for fun, I actually have my boot on here.
Okay.
Uh, I broke my ankle playing racquetball December 15th. So anyway, just speaking of broken bones.
But you did it doing racquetball and not walking to the kitchen getting a salami sandwich. So at
Exactly.
least,
As my wife
yeah,
said, I didn't fall over in the bathtub. So
yeah, yeah. At least you have a good story, right? I've heard of people getting up and breaking an ankle, and it's like, what did you do? I stood up.
I still, yeah,
That's
right.
that's
Exactly. No, no, we at least have a decent. I mean, unfortunately, we played racquetball for like 30 years without major incidents, and now we finally got one. But oh well, what can you do? So,
yeah.
okay, so back to your story. You're in motorcycles. So somehow you get from motorcycles to real estate. How did that happen?
By a luck of the draw. So I kind of got burnt out from the whole sales and side of things, and so I took some time off and I started trading options, option contracts in the
Oh
stock.
wow. Did you go get licensed, or you just started
No,
trading
I
up?
just did it for myself.
Oh,
I
I
had
see.
cash saved
Okay.
up, and I said
Yeah.
I'll take a few months off. I'm kind of burned out. I just want to. What do I want to do?
Yeah.
And at this point, I am early 30s, and I'm like, what do I want to do with my life? I've done the whole thing from the East Coast to the West Coast. I love the West Coast. Um, what do I want to do with my life? And so I was trading options and having fun and going out and partying and traveling and doing different things. And I said, this being at home thing isn't really my cup of tea. I like people,
Not all
Bruce.
that great. Not all
No,
that.
I love people, but you're at home and you're kind of isolated. Yeah, you can chat with people and stuff like that, but you're kind of isolated. And after a while, I started getting this need for people, but I still needed to generate some revenue.
Right,
And
right.
so I started looking for, you know, companies that maybe kind of could need some help or some revitalization or something that would interest me. And
Yeah.
I flicked my resume out and I got a response. And I was like, I looked at the website and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is for me. It was for software for commercial real estate.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And the website was a little goofy. And I said, but man, they got some big names in here. I know some of these names. What's going on with this? Let me go to the interview. And so the creator of the program that I ended up going to work for wanted me to interview around, I think, 5:30 a.m., maybe
Oh,
6 a.m.
that's an interesting test. You got to come for an interview at 5:30 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, so you can
How bad
imagine.
do you want this job?
Well, you can imagine what's going through my head. I'm like, this guy's really weird. What?
Yeah, come on, you're
Like,
whacked out here.
so I drive up and I'm going and it's dark out and I'm going in this office building and I'm like, do I really want to do this? Like, am I going to be okay? I've never had an interview like that. Normally, people offer me a job. That's
Yeah, yeah, right. You've been
that. You
walking
want to
in
come
and
work
getting
for me?
jobs. Right.
I've never really applied for. That was the first time I've ever applied for a job. Really, I mean, normally it's a friend or a family or acquaintance. You know what I mean, right? So
Oh, yeah, yeah, right.
I'm like, okay, so all right, so I have my suit on. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 in the morning, and it's dark out. And I sit down and have you ever watched the movie The Big Short?
Yes, but I don't remember that much about what
Well,
happened.
Christian Bayo is in it. This guy who
Yeah.
played Batman.
Okay.
He's incredible. And so the guy in The Big Short calls is Burry is his name, I think his name, and I should know his name, but I'm not good with names. And so I meet with this guy. His name's Tim Cray, and he created a software called REA. It's been around since 1983.
Yeah. Okay.
And the time that I'm sitting there with him, I am just enamored about how smart this guy is. He's just brilliant,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
he's quirky.
Yeah. 5:30 in the morning. Yeah.
He's quirky, right?
Yeah.
But he's brilliant at the same time. And then I can see he has band equipment there, and he's in a band. I'm like, so if you watch The Big Short, yeah, this is exactly who he is. He's brilliant, a little quirky, and he loves the rock music stuff. And he's still in a band to this day. And I'm like, I gotta come work for this guy. He's brilliant. No matter what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna learn something really awesome from him. Kind of like to why I would want to meet with Elon is because if I could learn something like that adds value to my life, that's who I want to be and who I would want to do. And I was like, I gotta work with this guy. This guy's he's so smart. And so I was just so enamored. I'm like, let's do it. And
All
that's how I
right.
ended up in commercial real estate.
Wow. And how long have you been there now?
So I've been with the predecessor, so to speak. We got acquired in 2004, so almost 11 years.
Wow.
Time
Okay.
goes by way too quick.
Oh, yeah.
But I've been in the commercial industry space since 2000 and I don't know, 14 years maybe now.
Wow. In the commercial. So, okay. So tell the audience here what this software does for real estate. Oh, give us
So,
the sales pitch. We want to hear the sales pitch.
well, we create software to solve problems. That's it. It's that simple.
That's way too simple. All right.
It is. And it's funny because I've been doing this for 13, 14 years, whatever it is. And when I first came into it, I'm like, I don't know anything about software, but I know the logbook is the most important thing in the world.
You learned that lesson.
I learned that lesson, and I instill that in my salespeople in the motorcycle industry, and that's how I got my commissions when I had to fight for it. Is I had everything documented. I knew that
You had it documented. Yeah, exactly.
And so this was a robust CRM system for commercial real estate at REA, and so, but I don't know how to use this thing. And so then I figured out how to, I'm like, great, I'm going to put my brokerage hat on. And I partnered up with some other, great trainers. And I got Mike Lipsy's book. And if you don't know who Mike Lipsy is, he's one of my favorite people. And so I got Mike Lipsy's CD book and I talked to Mike and I started talking to other brokers and really getting to understand. And I said, I'm an office tenant broker in San Diego. I need to know the space the tenant would occupy, and I need to know the companies that would occupy the space. Those are two things.
Yeah.
I can solve for those two things using my software. I can really do damage.
All right.
REA was already, sold like 100,000 licenses and just it's a big deal. But this is coming around when Salesforce is coming out. So we have a desktop-based solution in a SaaS model or web-based system. And so the way I've always learned and sold the program was to learn what brokers were doing and how to make their days easier and better and more efficient. And we got acquired. And when we got acquired, we had other portions of the brokerage tools that stack or the tech stack that they needed as well. And our motto has always been, we build and create software to solve problems. So we find brokers and they give us feedback on what they're having or struggling with. And then we build a solution for them.
Wow. All right.
It's that simple of a business model. If someone has a problem, fix it.
Here we go. Off we go.
Yeah.
So okay, here's a question for you. So how does REA compare with Salesforce, say, or any other?
Yeah, it doesn't. So REA has been sunset over 10 years ago. It's now RealNex and RealNex Navigator, but it was property centric. And it's funny because years ago people were like, no, I don't need to know the property. Well, you do. And so I'm like, that's the most important thing. It's the property, it's the building. And you need to know the building, you need to know the spaces. So we had it all built out for the building and the tenants for the building. And then it was relational, so it linked it to the companies and the contacts. Where Salesforce is a contact-driven system, we're more of a property-driven system.
I got you.
So if you said, "Hey, Matt, what's going on in San Diego industrial and in the, East Lake area?"
Boom.
Oh, yeah, my agents walk that building over there. We have a couple vacancies. I would know it all by looking in my program.
So how do you compare then to CoStar and LoopNet?
So systems like that are data service providers, right? And
Okay, right. They're just data.
They're data.
Yeah.
But what's the data without other information? What are the updated photos? Does the building still look like that? Is the building still occupied to this day? What does that tenant pay? Those are all the important details that add value to a broker.
Exactly. So
And our program allows you to keep that information to be kind of like your asset management system. So you can walk a building. I can stack a building from my phone. I can add tenants in there, set reminders, and then that data is utilized to create analysis, whether that's a broker opinion to value to send to the owner and say, "Hey, by the way, I walked your building. I got some information. I'd love to give you an update based upon market conditions." Right?
Wow.
Or what your buildings may be worth with photos that are from you walk at the building.
So I think you're saying that compared to CoStar LoopNet, you're a much more up-to-date current database.
We are a proprietary database that brokerage and brokerage companies purchase to store the information, where CoStar gives the information to you for a fee.
Yeah.
Our clients want to keep that information proprietary. They want to know that the building has 7 bricks because there's 20 brokers calling on the same building with the information that's out there in the market.
Right.
My brokers are calling and saying, "Hey, by the way, Bruce, I was at your building. There's 4 blue bricks. Tell me the story."
Uh-huh.
And then they add value by knowing the area and what's going on, because what you see, even what you see that's recorded by title, isn't always the truth, the whole story.
No,
What's
right.
the whole story? And then will you remember the whole story tomorrow? And our program helps you remember that whole story.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to test drive this system for sure. Sounds very.
Put the keys and slam the gas on, and I'll be your test driver for that. And so within doing all that, we consult with clients and we say, "Mr. Bean," and I love that, by the way, that it's Mr. Bean and Pam Anderson. I just think that's incredible. I can't wait till I tell my wife I was on a podcast with Mr. Bean and he's married to Pam Anderson. She's going to be like, "We went to Disneyland and we missed out on this." Yes.
And we're going to have a follow-up podcast to find Mr. Bean.
I think we should.
With Matt and Bruce go after Mr. Bean. Yeah.
We should. And I Googled, I said, "Where's Mr. Bean?" And I found this cartoon in 2023. So Mr. Bean's doing stuff. And then it brought me to a page of t-shirts and tchotchke kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Get some merch. You can get some merch out of it. The Mr. Bean merch. See, I should be driving that store. What am I doing?
I 100%. We should have you up on there and we can have you and Mr. Bean get together.
All right. I'm all in on this. We're
not a lot of beans in one area, right?
No. Yeah. No, we got one in Northern California and one in the UK. So we're gonna have to track him down.
We will. Sure.
All right. Well, Matt, where can people find you if they want to buy your software? Because I think people are going to want to.
Yeah, so you can go to realnex.com. It's www.realnex.com.
NEX, not NET, NEX.
NEX. Yeah, RealNex. And we created a whole solution. So we're much more than a CRM. We're much more than an analytics program. We're much more than a tour book. We're a complete systematic approach to doing business. And we look at a brokerage company, a broker, an agent, marketing, and admin research, and we say, what are you currently doing? And can we make that faster, easier, more effective to help you find, win, and close deals in commercial real estate? And if we can, our solution's for you. If not, what other problems do you have? Because we'll likely build a solution for that.
Well, okay, so can we say Mr. Bean sent them? We should say Mr. Bean sent them.
I think that's the only way people should come.
Yeah, they should say Mr. Bean sent me, And I'm sure you'll give them some special.
I 100% will give them something to commemorate that Mr. Bean was sending them. And it might be, you might get a Mr. Bean mug. Maybe we'll get you a Mr. Bean mouse pad or something even more special than that.
Oh yeah. We're going to work on this and see what kind of special merch we can come up with for the special Mr. Bean offer.
There is even a Mr. Bean Beanie Baby.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So we're going to get this merch out and about, and RealNex is going to be the driver here.
Let's do it. I'm all for it.
Here we go. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.